When I was 18, my parents went on a weekend trip, leaving me home alone for the first time. It was a Friday night, and I stayed up gaming with friends, going to bed around 2:30 a.m. At 3:02 a.m., I was jolted awake by the doorbell ringing. I froze, listening, heart pounding. It rang again, slow, deliberate. I checked the security camera on my phone, but it was pitch black outside. The porch light was off, and I didn't see anyone. Then, the doorbell rang a third time, followed by knocking. I stayed quiet, hiding under the covers, praying it would stop. After a few minutes, it did, and I tried to convince myself it was a prank. At 3:27 a.m., I heard it again, but this time I heard scratching on the door, like someone was lightly dragging their fingernails across it. I checked the camera again and adjusted the brightness. That's when I saw it. A person standing far back on the lawn, barely visible, just watching the house. I called 911, whispering, explaining what was happening. They said officers would be dispatched immediately. While I was on the call, I heard the door handle jiggle, then stop, then jiggle again, like someone was testing if it was locked. Then I heard footsteps around the side of the house. I crawled to my window and peeked through the blinds, and I saw him, a man wearing a hoodie and jeans, walking slowly along the side of the house, looking into windows. I stayed on the floor, trying not to make a sound. Then I heard the sound that haunts me to this day. It was the back sliding door trying to open, slowly, inch by inch. I realized I had forgotten to lock it. I ran to the kitchen, and in the dim light, I saw the door sliding open a few inches, and a hand reaching through, trying to unlock it fully. I screamed, slammed it shut, and locked it just as the hand pulled back. A few minutes later, the police arrived, but the man was gone. They found footprints in the mud around the house and handprints on the sliding door. The officers told me that the man had likely been watching me for hours, waiting for me to fall asleep before trying to get inside. They never caught him. For months, I couldn't sleep properly, always checking the cameras, the windows, and the locks multiple times before bed, terrified of hearing the doorbell ring at 3. This happened when I was 20, staying alone in my parents' house during the summer while they traveled. It was a 2-story house in a quiet neighborhood with big air vents that connected the rooms. I used to leave my window open at night for fresh air, and one humid night, around 1 a.m., I was lying in bed, scrolling through my phone, when I heard a faint scraping sound. At first, I ignored it, thinking it was an animal outside, but it didn't stop. It was coming from the air vent above my bed. I turned off my phone flashlight and listened carefully. It sounded like something metal scraping softly, then stopping. I told myself it was the AC system, but I turned off the AC to check, and the sound continued, even clearer in the dead silence. The next night, it got worse. I heard what sounded like breathing, slow and heavy, coming from the vent. I stood on my bed and put my ear closer, and I swear I heard something shifting inside. I called my dad, who told me to call animal control, but I didn't immediately. I tried to convince myself it was a raccoon or something, even though I had never heard breathing that deep from an animal. The third night, I woke up to the sound of something falling in the vents, like a thud, followed by a dragging noise. I turned on all the lights, terrified, and called animal control. When they arrived, they opened the vent in the attic and found food wrappers and water bottles inside the duct system. They told me no animal would have brought that inside. I was horrified. I called the police, and they inspected the entire vent system. It turned out there was a small, broken panel in the attic leading to the vent system, and someone had been crawling inside, hiding in the vents. They eventually found him hiding under the insulation in the attic. It was a man in his late 30s, dirty and thin, holding a small knife and a flashlight. He had been living in abandoned buildings and using vents in empty houses to hide. He had broken in through my window while I was at the store during the day and was living in the vent system while I was in the house. The worst part was when they arrested him, the officers told me he had been watching me sleep through the vent slits at night. I had to stay with a friend for a while, unable to sleep in that house again, knowing someone was in the walls, watching me, waiting for the right moment.